We're hooked up. All right, Derek Williams with WVAS and Eyeball Radio here with, he really needs no introduction, but on the phone we have 5-time first-team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, and 2018 Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee, Terrell Owens. What's going on, T.O.?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for taking this time out to speak with us today. We can go on and on about your career accomplishments as a professional. They've been well documented over the years. But something a lot of people may forget is that you're a native of Alabama. Kind of talk about what it was like growing up in the small town of Alexander City.
Well, I think anybody knows that's from a small town, small city, or what have you. You're limited, to a lot of resources and things that some of the big cities, inner cities are accustomed to. There's everything, you can get into as far as trouble and everything else. Lucky for me that I had a grandmother that raised me and a mom. I was able to kind of, keep myself out of trouble. But, like I said, grew up in, low-income family. Very blessed to be able to do some of the things that I did, considering some of my circumstances. But I didn't allow those circumstances to really dictate, really kind of the outcome and really what I wanted to do for my life and my football career. And I was one of those kids that was a late bloomer. Played 4 sports in high school. Ran track. I played baseball. Obviously basketball and obviously football. So these are some of the things that I did in Alexander City. Went to Benjamin Russell High School, and again, like I said, man, I'm just fortunate to be where I am today. If it wasn't for my desire, dedication, and discipline, none of what I would have achieved would have happened.
And speaking of that, like you say, you graduated from Benjamin Russell High School in Alexander City, and what people may not know is that you got a late start in playing football. You didn't get to start playing until high school. Kind of talk about that, because it's been documented your mother and grandmother wouldn't really let you play. So what made them let you play and for you to get into football?
Well, it was more so my mom. My grandmother, growing up in the South, she saw that, being out in the streets and not being in her eyesight was, she felt that if we weren't in her eyesight, we were out doing something, getting in trouble. My grandmother obviously old school, grew up in Deep South, families from the Deep South. In the South, sports are things that kids are accustomed to doing. I think that's well documented, especially if you look at the sports, your Alabamas, your Auburns. You look at it, just the SEC in general, from across the board, that's what we do. We play sports. And so I was no different than any other kid, across the country, especially in the South, that wanted to just be active and play a number of sports. So as you mentioned, I was got a late start. Pretty much I would say I was a late bloomer as far as my skill set and the maturation process of where I was in high school. Again, I was one of those kids that, wanted to play sports no matter what it was. And so playing at Benjamin Russell, we had sometimes 80, 90 to 100 kids on a football team. So that lets you know that, football was very, very prevalent in the South and in our neighborhood. And I was just, like I said, fortunate to be able to come out of there knowing that there are a lot more guys, that I grew up and I played with that was far greater than I was as an athlete. But again, I just kept working at it, and things kind of just happened for me, man. So it really was just a relentless pursuit of really trying to be the best athlete that I could be, trying to get on the field whenever I could. And so there's a number of stories. And my high school coach, Steve Savarese, has told a number of guys, when he coached at our high school and when he moved on and coached elsewhere, is that I was one of those kids that always was trying to find a way to get better. And so if that meant, sacrificing sometimes, my lunch periods or enrichment periods to go in the weight room and get myself bigger, faster, and stronger, that's what I did. So I wasn't a 4 or 5 star athlete coming out of Benjamin Russell. And a lot of people don't know that, considering the career that I had, some would think that. But I was just, again, like I said, just didn't want to be average. I was motivated by my peers that were better than me. And that's really kind of what we want to do with this game coming up this weekend is give kids an opportunity, inspire them, motivate them, to let them know that, if someone like myself that didn't really have the dreams of becoming a professional athlete, being an adolescent or a teenager, that they can too. Never give up on your dreams. Always kind of be in pursuit of something. Always participate in sports. I think kids get lost these days because they pigeonhole themselves, and parents do that as well by pigeonholing themselves or their kids into playing one sport, thinking that they're going to go professional in that one sport. When again, you never know where your journey may take you. That's why I encourage all my kids. I don't force them to anything, but I encourage them to play a number of sports.
And I'm glad you said that because you, as you mentioned earlier, you weren't a 4 or 5 star athlete. You didn't have a huge recruitment process, and you ended up going to Tennessee Chattanooga, where you did play football, basketball, and ran track in college, something that's not very common nowadays. What kind of made you and led you to choose Tennessee Chattanooga as the school you wanted to go to for college?
Chattanooga kind of chose me. I was very limited with the offers that I had. I know I had a couple of Division II offers with basketball. That was well after around the time that I had signed the scholarship at UT Chattanooga. But UT Chattanooga were recruiting the other receiver that started that lived in my hometown, Derek Hall.
Okay.
And the other receiver that I played behind was Ricky Morgan, and so they were coming to our general area, and obviously our high school, and they were recruiting Derek. And during that recruiting process, however they evaluate, at that time there were VHS tapes, and so they were looking at tape on Derek and I think a game or two or what have you, and they saw me pop out. I made a few plays here and there, and obviously my physical attributes probably stood out. At that time I was probably 6'1" or what have you. For a receiver, I wouldn't say that I had anything eye-popping as far as speed or anything like that, but for whatever reason, they saw something in me, and while recruiting Derek, they kind of offered me somewhat of a sort of a package deal. So I just went to UT Chattanooga, really not understanding or knowing where I was going. I just knew that at that time, my mom or my grandmother wasn't able to afford me to go to school anywhere. So I took advantage of the scholarship that UT Chattanooga gave me, and I think everyone knows the rest is history. So I just wanted to be able to take advantage of that opportunity, not only just to go to college to play football, but that was a way and a means of me getting an education at the same time. So everywhere that I went, starting with that recruitment process and going to Chattanooga, that was an opportunity that was given that I took full advantage of. And then you piggyback that with, being drafted in '96, late third round, 89th pick. Again, that wasn't in your top, 2 rounds, where again, you get paid a lot of money. But again, when you talk about opportunities being taken, being taken full advantage of, here again, there's another opportunity for me to go on and make something of myself. And so I took full advantage of the opportunity to be drafted by the Niners. And again, I think the rest is history. So that's what I want these kids to understand and everyone to know about me, is that I wasn't given anything, even with, part of my message, being inducted into the Hall of Fame, but prior to, it was earned, it wasn't given. I felt like, that was something that I rightfully earned. And sometimes, people don't totally agree with with what I do, but I'm a person of conviction, and if I know that I'm right, in so many ways, then I'm going to do it my way.
And like you say, it was well documented for about your NFL career, and like you say, you being a third round pick in the '96 draft, but still to this day, you're currently still third in receiving yards and touchdowns in the NFL. Did you ever think, coming from Alex City, that you would accomplish those type of feats in the NFL?
No, I didn't. And as I alluded to earlier, I didn't let the environment or the people around me condition me to thinking that I couldn't succeed. Like I said, I didn't allow, coming from a small school, bro, I had no idea, to be honest.
Wow.
Like I said, I went to Chattanooga. I had no idea. Didn't have any aspirations or thoughts of playing beyond the collegiate level. Again, like I said, if like I tell people, if I can make it, especially these kids that really don't have a blueprint, a roadmap of how to get there, there's no easier shortcuts to success. And so a lot of kids, they want stuff instantly. They want it now.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't understand there's average athletes, there's good athletes, and there's great athletes. And so, again, in order to progress with those tiers, you have to put in a lot of hard work. You think about a guy like, in the NBA today, Steph Curry. He went to the same Southern Conference that I did. He played at Davidson. Again, when he came out, the report on him was that he would never make it. But a lot of guys don't understand the hard work that he has put in to put himself in a position, not only to represent himself. He obviously put God first. But again, a lot of people don't understand the amount of work that he has put in to do the things that he does on that court. And not only just Curry, but I make mention of Curry because, again, similar situation. Went through the draft process. You have these GMs, these scouts that evaluate you based on optics and what they think your potential is. Nobody can measure the heart and the will that someone has inside of them. And so I didn't want anybody to obviously evaluate me based on sometimes optics that can be misleading. But like I said, inside of an individual, nobody can never measure that until you show them yourselves. And so you look at what Curry has done within the last 5 years, based on, he's basically eclipsed, everybody's expectations. I'm sure everyone except his own.
Yeah.
And so it just shows you how somebody can go from, being average or good, they can to great. And that's not to minimize what LeBron or any of these other guys have done, because LeBron was destined for greatness because he was looked at as having the potential and having the success coming out of high school that he has, because of some guys are just naturally gifted, and there are guys that have to work at their craft.
And that's glad you say that, because like just the parallel between you and Curry is so similar, because it was 2 point guards drafted 2 slots ahead of him, and one of them's not in the NBA anymore, and the other one's now a free agent looking for a job. So, and for you, it was so many wide receivers taken in the first 2 rounds and even in the 3rd round before you, and look who came out with a better career. It just shows that perseverance is what really it takes in order for you to make it. And, speaking of your professional career, what would you say was one of your greatest moments as a football player in the NFL? I know what mine is, but I want to know what your greatest moment was that you would say that you remember the most about your NFL career.
I think probably the NFC wildcard game. That was pretty much a catalyst and pretty kind of a picture of what my career kind of formed and shaped to be. You think about that game, I know some people may not know what I'm talking about. If you look up the Green Bay 49ers NFC wildcard
That's
game,
my game.
99. It didn't go particularly well for us as a team and me personally. That game, there was a lot of ebb and flows to that game. I didn't have a particularly great game, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And so throughout the course of the game, I had a few drops here and there. There was a touchdown, for sure touchdown that I had dropped, due to the sun being in my eyes. I mean, it was just like, everything that could have gone wrong, went wrong at those times. And so that was one of those moments, like, again, my first playoff game, me wanting to really make a name for myself and make an impact and be an integral part of winning a game and obviously trying to get to the championship. And so playing with the greats like Jerry Rice and Steve Young and, playing alongside J.J. Stokes, these are guys that I had played with for a few years at this point now, and I wanted to make, make my imprint and put my imprint on the game. And so nobody, I don't think, has ever played a perfect game. You obviously, mentally and physically, you prepare yourself to try to play a perfect game for the perfect moment in time. And, playing in the playoffs, nobody gets to play in the playoffs a lot.
Yeah.
So that was one of those moments where I felt like I wanted to make an impact and probably put a lot of pressure on myself. But, again, you have to just block things out. And I had coaches that supported me, players that supported me throughout that entire game. And it ended up being, kind of one of the most iconic games and one of the most talked about games in 49er history and probably NFL history too. So for me, that was sort of like that game was a catalyst of things to come as it relates to my career.
Yeah, and after that game, you saw the emotions right there on the field. The emotions pour out of you, and I really believe that did shape you to be the person you were because you saw how much passion and love you had for the game because of the mistakes you made earlier to make it up at that point. Like I said, that was one of my iconic moments for you also. Like when you say your name, that's the picture that pops up and the things that you accomplished. Man, right before we get into what we're here about, just a quick question. What is your opinion? I know you do a lot of media around about for the NFL. What are your thoughts on the current state of the NFL with the rule changes and just basically the direction that the NFL is going right now?
I think first and foremost, obviously they're trying to make the game safer. Obviously concussions is right at the forefront of all changes. It being implemented to make the game safer, and obviously, as it relates to some of the rules and things of that nature that could impact the game. I think, you think about the Rams and Saints game, playoff game, where the penalty wasn't called, that was blatantly missed. I think those are some of the things I think, are really at the forefront of trying to really make the game faster, and obviously guys are bigger, faster, and stronger. That sometimes it makes the referee's job a lot tougher, from an optics standpoint. But again, obviously celebrations, that was something that was frowned upon, and I was heavily criticized for early on in my career, which is now being embraced. But I think it's all about now fan engagement and keeping the fans happy and really having a good quality brand of football being played and being shown to lots of football fans across the country. So I think first and foremost, I think safety is one of the things, and they're trying to make the game a little bit more exciting than usual.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really kind of about it.
Yeah, and I will say now, I don't think anybody in the NFL, in the history of the NFL, had the TO type celebrations. You're still the king of celebrations, and I can't say that. But on to this now about the third annual alumni game. Kind of speak about this game and how it came about. I know you guys did it at Alex City one year, and then you went to at Coosa one year at Benjamin Russell. Right. Then you went to Coosa, and now you guys are bringing it here to Alabama State. Kind of talk about the game and what makes it important for you guys to bring it here to Montgomery to Alabama State, a historic HBCU.
Well, they brought it to my attention a few years back. This will be the third year that we've done it, and as you mentioned, the first year was the game was played in Benjamin Russell. The second game was at Coosa Central High School, and we have some individuals, and I didn't know this till well after I was in the league and was playing, that that played, 25 minutes away from me, that went to the high school that we played against. And so you think about Adalius Thomas and Mario Moon, who played in the NBA, and Justin Tuck, he played with the Giants, Adalius, who played with the Ravens and the Patriots, and Scotty Vines, who had a short stint with the Detroit Lions, who's from Alexander City. These are guys that, again, come from very small communities. I think Central is smaller than Alexander City. And so, we wanted to basically, I was contacted about this alumni game to really just give back to the community. And that's what we did. And we saw the growth in 2 years that, both years it was standing room only. And so, the guys approached me after last year's game. Obviously, we got some TV coverage from it. The games are very, very competitive, and we wanted to basically see how we could, expand upon what we were doing. And the guys, that I mentioned, they wanted to do bigger and better things. And so this event that we're doing is bigger than us. And so we wanted to basically just do something outside of our area codes. We wanted to do something outside of the 256 area code. And when you think about the guys that came from those communities that we mentioned, we didn't have resources or access, to larger universities to do anything. We were blessed with opportunities to go on and play football, and obviously try to extend our education beyond where it was, and we took advantage of it. And so, we wanted to go outside of our area code to really motivate and inspire and encourage kids that hear about us, that see us on TV, that don't really necessarily have, the access to us. And so we want to bring it to them. And so we wanted to just bring it, to a bigger facility, seeing that the growth of what we've done in the last 2 years, it had grown just, in a short period of time. So we just wanted to find some way, somehow, to really expand on what we were doing and what we do as individuals to really, inspire and motivate these kids outside of our own area code.
And I think that's great, and I think Alabama State is a great place for you guys to have it, with the facilities not only, but also with the history that Montgomery holds, from civil rights days to all the things that it holds nationally here in Montgomery. This is a great place for you guys, and to be honest, a lot of you guys went on to have bigger careers than a lot of the guys that come from Montgomery that played sports. So to have the kids in this area see you guys, I think it's going to be something great. I think it's going to be awesome. But I do have to say this. We know you can hoop. We've seen you at NBA All-Star Weekend, celebrity games, and other celebrity games. And even last year, a viral video went out of you dunking on somebody. So what can we expect this Saturday from T.O. on the basketball court?
Right now, man, it's been a lot of talk about that dunk. It made Sports Center.
Yeah.
So again, we were down in the game by like 20-something points, but we made a valiant effort to make it competitive. We got back in the game. We ended up losing by, I think, like by 1 or 2. But obviously, like I said, it stung because, again, people from the Alexander City community, our high school, it's sort of like bragging rights, going back and forth. Right now we're 1-1. But again, like I said, even though we lost, my dunk was pretty much, it was a highlight in what everybody kind of remembered. So again, us being down 20-something, and I think everybody thought we were going to, kind of get blown out. That didn't happen. But, it's fun, man. Jamario Moon has already been talking trash.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to get me back. I don't think that's not going to happen. That's one thing you don't do is tell somebody what you're going to do. But I will try my best. He's a very great athlete. I would try my best not to, be on anybody's poster or anybody's highlights. And I'm definitely not trying to, follow up my dunk with being dunked on ESPN. So, man, it's a lot of fun, man. We have, a lot of guys in the community obviously that look up to me, that followed my career.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure everybody's been watching the Toronto Bucks series.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see Drake on the sideline, having a good time, inspiring, pumping up his city. We have our own version of Drake in our Alexander City. His name is Mon Creighton. We went to school with him, so
Okay.
Mon is going to be our version of Drake
Okay.
during the game. So everybody's excited about the game, man. Since we announced it, looking forward for a great outcome, crowd participation, and we can't thank Alabama State enough for giving us the opportunity to play the game there at their facilities. And partner with us with probably, and doing this game and probably doing some greater things down the road. So, like I said, I know a lot of guys, are very, very thankful and grateful for the opportunity as well. And I'm sure a lot of people will be able to hear that from themselves, when the time is right.
Yeah, and exactly. I did want to put that bug in your ear for the last thing. I did get a chance to talk to Jamario on last week, and he alluded to you dunking on his teammate. Now he did say if he gets the chance, he's gonna try to meet you at the rim. So not
Right.
only that, I got a chance to also talk to Mr. Scotty Vines, who said he said he just turned 40, but he said them legs still got some bounce in them. So he was like he's looking to meet Jamario, but Jamario did say he's still playing in the Big Three. So y'all don't want to come up there with him. So I don't know. I'm just excited to see what's gonna happen.
Hey, the only thing that's preventing me from playing playing in the Big Three is that I'm not NBA sanctioned. I feel like I have NBA worthy talent and skill
True.
set, but because of me not playing in the NBA, I'm not able to. I mean, there's a lot of guys over the last 2 to 3 years that this Big Three has been implemented.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some guys in the NBA vouch for me and try to talk to Ice Cube and the powers to be to allow me an opportunity to play because they I live in Los Angeles. I play with a number of guys, a lot of pickup. Play with a lot of guys that played in the NBA, retired, college, international, what have you. So like I said, I still got a little game. I may not have as much bounce as a lot of those guys that are now still playing, but I can hold my own. So,
Yeah.
we're looking to represent, for Alexander City. And the main thing about this really is just having fun and really giving back and showing people in the community that we are accessible. We want to give back, and these are things that we've been blessed with. In the Bible, it says, to whom much is given, much is required. And, we feel like it's a responsibility for us, and it would be in vain for us to do and achieve some of the things that we've achieved and not give back. And so I know these guys personally, so it's going to be a lot of fun, man, and I'm looking forward to it and wishing everybody, come on out and support, and it's going to be good. It's going to be a good game.
Hey, Terrell, I totally appreciate this time, man, you taking out to talk with me. And I think, man, after we get off this conversation, man, we got to start the campaign of let T.O. in the Big Three. We got to get you in there, man. We got to get you in there because, like I say, we've seen you playing over the years. We know you got the game to do it. And like you say, man, those guys they're doing their best to keep it going. And we need to get you in the Big Three, man. I think it'll be great. I think it'll be great.
I know, man. They ain't gonna let me, but I appreciate the efforts and of a lot of guys. But again, like I said, to play in the Big Three, you gotta be able to bang with those guys. And so you know what, maybe it's a good thing. But like I said, I appreciate the opportunity. But yeah, it's the Big Three. Hey, those guys are for real, for real.
Yes, sir. Hey, Terrell, man, thank you for this time, man. We greatly appreciate it. If anything else you need in the future, man, you need from here at Alabama State or WVAS, we'll be glad to do it, man. And thank you, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
All right, no doubt, man. Y'all just follow me, keep up with my social media.
Yeah, go ahead and drop
Instagram.
that for them for those who don't know.
Yeah. Twitter and Instagram at Terrell Owens, and you can find me on Facebook. I have a fan page and I have a personal page. Just find me. You'll know the authentic one. One has my logo on, and one has a picture of me looking all handsome and stuff. As I always am. But Yeah, all my social media, pretty much you can have a direct link and insight to what I got going on. So I'm always having fun engaging with the fans on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all of that. It's at Terrell Owens.
Gotcha. I know, and we all know you got the blue verified check, so it's not verified. Y'all know it's not the real one.
Right. You
Exactly.
already know.
All right, Terrell. Well, I'm gonna hit you up on social media, and like I say, hopefully when you get down here Saturday, we'll get a chance to see each other and chop it up some more.
All right, no doubt.
All right. Thanks a lot, Terrell.
Yeah, yeah.
Bye bye.